If you had the Academy Awards night to do over again, would you do any of that differently?
Well, I don't think so, no. I felt that that there was an opportunity for, since the American Indian hasn't been able to hear his voice heard, or have his voice heard, anywhere in the history of the United States, I felt that it was a marvelous opportunity for an Indian to be able to voice his opinion to 85 million people. I guess that was the number. And I felt that he had a right to, in view of what Hollywood has done to him. And I was embarrassed for Sacheen. She wasn't able to say what she intended to say. And I was distressed that people should have booed and whistled and stomped, even though perhaps it was directed at myself. They should have at least had the courtesy to listen to her. But I think she did very well, and I was very glad that she did have what opportunity she had to say what she did. And
why didn't you get to read your entire statement as you planned it?
Well, I think that they felt that it was inappropriate, and I actually don't know. I think they didn't want her there. They didn't want the evening interrupted with that particular note. And from their insular point of view, I felt that perhaps they had a point. But I don't think that people generally realize what the motion picture industry has done to the American Indian. As a matter of fact, all ethnic groups, all minorities, all non-whites. And people just simply don't realize. They just took it for granted that that's the way people are going to be presented, and these cliches were just going to be perpetuated. And so when someone makes a protest of some kind and says, no, please don't present the Chinese this way, or please, I mean, on this network every night, well, perhaps not every night, but you can see silly renditions of human behavior. The leering Filipino houseboy, the wily Japanese, or the kook or the gook, and the idiot black man, and the stupid Indian, and it just goes on and on and on. And people actually don't realize how deeply these people are injured by seeing themselves represented, not so much the adults because they're already inured to that kind of pain and pressure, but children, Indian children, seeing Indians represented as savage, as ugly, as nasty, vicious, treacherous, drunken. They grow up only with a negative image of themselves, and it lasts a lifetime. Is that an answer to your question?
Yeah. Did you expect the kind of outrage that you got from people? I believe, well, that very night, Raquel Welch made a joke against you, saying that I hope the next person doesn't have a cause. Who's the Indian? Who's the Western star who followed later? Steve McQueen. Clint Eastwood, yes, of course. I very seldom make mistakes. He did his version of a joke, and then John Wayne looked like he was about ready to get a posse together. He looked so sore. Did that surprise you, that they would be angered that you desecrated their cathedral?
I wasn't surprised, no. There were a number of people that felt that Sacheen had not been welcomed and not been treated properly, and people that were sympathetic to what she was trying to say. And I received an awful lot of mail in support of that.
The booing made me sore.
Well, actually, I think the
Hear
people
men
were
boo.
booing at me. They were booing because they thought, well, this moment is sacrosanct, and you're ruining our fantasy with the intrusion of a little reality. And I suppose it was perhaps unkind of me and to do that, but there was a larger issue, and it's an issue that nobody in the motion picture industry has ever addressed themselves to, unless forced to. I mean, the blacks have brought about changes because they were just damn angry about it. And they thumped the tub and threatened and made some noise about it. But if they had just been silent and thought, well, gradually wisdom will come to those who are in the business of the movies, and they will do right by us, and the day would never have come. We, have a lot to be grateful for that the blacks were as insistent as they were that the image of blacks were changing. But it's a block by block fight. It's people are very timorous now about showing blacks in an unkindly light, but they would go on with the Filipino houseboy or the Indian. I mean, you see it every day on television. Not every day.
There's a World War II movie in which, actually it's John Wayne again, I don't mean to pick on him, in which he refers to Mr. Tojo's little yellow-bellied rats. And there was so much racism in World War II movies. You see, it's really, really surprising. I mean, it was so crude that it's worse than you remember it. The thing that bugged me, too, was that people said, there's Brando jumping on a social cause bandwagon now, getting in on the Indians, forgetting that in the 50s you were, I think, one of the first people fishing with the Puyallup Indians up on the West Coast. Is there anything else you'd want to say about the Academy Award night, or shall we close? Can we close on that? There was some talk that you were going to go to Wounded Knee, and I just wondered what changed your mind about that.
Well, I wanted to digress just for a second there. I have a great deal of sympathy for the fact that you try to put on shows that deal with serious issues. And there's a terrible conflict that you must have trying to make the show entertaining. You have to do that in order to keep that segment of the audience who's not particularly interested in the issues tuned into the station. And I think you do a yeoman's job. There's nobody else on television that does what you do. And very often you're forced to make concessions. I mean, asking me questions about whether I threw horse manure on somebody, that seems ridiculous on the face of it. But then it has a part, if you don't ask those questions, you don't have that kind of conversation, there are a lot of guys in their undershirts drinking beer just going to turn the station over to some other channel.
My God, what are they talking about?
Yeah. Nobody wants to hear about malnutrition among Indians. Nobody wants to hear about the fact that the Indians have the highest suicide rate of any group in the United States. That's dull stuff. People come home, they've got enough trouble, and they don't want to listen to it. They want to listen to the fripperies and the foolishness and the fun and the giggles and all that. So I think that you really deserve full credit for being able to wend your way through the broadcasting shows. And but I think that, as a matter of fact, you've touched an awful lot of people, and they've responded when they wanted to take you off the air for whatever reason it was. the hue and cry went up, and people did support you in full, and I was very glad for that, and I think everyone, finally, even those beer drinkers, will be benefited by it.
I got a lot of beer drinkers watching. Thank you. I'm humiliated when I'm complimented, and I must move on quickly. Did you dream that Last Tango would be such a bombshell in every way, that it would explode all over the place in the way that it did, or did you think it would just be accepted as another movie?
Well, I didn't know. No, those are just rolls of the dice, and you never know. I didn't know.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, I interrupted you or something on the subject of you were going to go to Wounded Knee and then decided not to, and it was never made.
I interrupted you.
You're right again.
Wounded Knee was surrounded by federal officers, marshals, state police, deputized ranchers, anybody who wanted to hold a gun and make himself feel good. Also, there were Indians, local Indians, that represented the administration view, who were opposed to AIM. And all that was needed to make it a flop was for me to go to Wounded Knee, be arrested by a vigilante group, or stopped by U.S. Marshals or something, and turned over to deputized conservative Indians. So then the headlines would be Indians repulse Brando at Wounded Knee, which was perhaps be the thing that the government would be looking for. And I tried to get into Wounded Knee, and but I wasn't able to. I went to Denver and set up I was going to meet somebody there, and they had trouble getting out Wounded Knee to meet me there, and it didn't work out.
Well, now I'll lapse back again. I'm fascinated with the furor over Last Tango. I wonder if anybody's able to see that movie for what it is, because of the fact that before it came out, a review appeared that said it was one of the greatest artistic events since Stravinsky's debut of Sacre du Printemps, on Pauline Kael's review. Have you found that anybody's able to watch the movie and see it for what it is, or do they know much too much about it beforehand?
Well, I haven't seen the movie, and I really don't think that I can. I don't know what I could say about it that might be useful or amusing or interesting.
Then we'll get off of that. Why do you downgrade acting as a profession?
What?
I say, why do you downgrade acting as a profession over the years?
What makes you think I do?
Well, I've read it in the press. Saw it in black and white. I can't believe the press. I don't know what we can believe in this country.